Hey everyone, I'm Sarah. Today's story is about Daisy, whose sister Sabrina and parents turned her wedding planning into a nightmare. Family favoritism, manipulation, and one woman's decision to finally say enough. Hit subscribe, drop your thoughts in the comments, and check our Patreon in the description for daily stories. My name is Daisy, I'm 32 years old, and I thought announcing my engagement would be a happy moment. I was wrong. Let me back up a bit. I have parents and an older sister named Sabrina. She's 34, 2 years older than me. We grew up in a pretty normal house, or at least I thought it was normal back then. Now I realize it wasn't normal at all, but I'll get to that later. I've been with my fiancé, Mark, for over 3 years. We met at a conference for work, hit it off immediately, and we've been together ever since. He's a software engineer, I work in project management for a tech company. We're both doing well, we own our own place, and we've been talking about marriage for a while. So when Mark finally proposed 6 months ago, I was over the moon. We decided we wanted to have a proper wedding, give ourselves time to plan everything right. We set a date for a year from the proposal. That gave us plenty of time to book venues, arrange everything, and let people plan ahead. I called my parents and asked them to come over for dinner. Sabrina was there too. I made this whole nice meal, and after we ate, I told them the news. Mark and I are getting married, I said, showing them the ring. We've set the date for next October, October 15th. You guys should block that day off on your calendars. I was smiling, expecting them to be happy. My dad said congratulations. My mom gave me a hug and said that was nice, but Sabrina just sat there with this weird look on her face. Don't you think you're rushing into this? She finally said. I blinked. Rushing? We've been together for 3 years. Yeah, but you should live together longer first, really get to know each other before you make such a big commitment. We've been living together for 2 years already, I said. We know each other pretty well. She shrugged. I'm just saying, a year isn't that long to plan a wedding, you might want to give yourself more time. I didn't think much of it at the time, I figured she was just being cautious or whatever, but it bothered me a little. Why couldn't she just be happy for me? 6 months passed. Mark and I were deep into wedding planning. We'd booked the venue, hired a photographer, picked out a caterer. Everything was coming together nicely. We were spending about $60,000 total, which sounds like a lot, but we'd saved up for it and we wanted a nice wedding with all our friends and family. Then one Sunday at my parents' house for dinner, Sabrina made an announcement. So, I have news, she said, grinning at her boyfriend who was sitting next to her. We're getting engaged. We're going to get married this year. That's amazing, I said. I was genuinely happy for her. Congratulations. When are you thinking, what date? We haven't decided yet, she said. We'll figure it out soon. I thought that was the end of it. But it wasn't. Over the next few months, every single family gathering turned into Sabrina criticizing my wedding plans. Every single one. $60,000, she said at one dinner. That's way too much money to spend on one day, that's excessive. It's our money, I said, Mark and I saved for this. Well, my fiancé and I don't have that kind of money, she continued. We're going to have a modest wedding, something reasonable. I just don't think you should overshadow my wedding with all your luxury. I stared at her. Your wedding that doesn't have a date yet? My mom jumped in. Sabrina has a point, Daisy. Not everyone can afford what you're doing. Another time, Sabrina looked at my menu plans. I'd left them on the table at my parents' house by accident. Why are you serving lobster and filet mignon? She asked. That's so expensive. When I have my wedding, my dishes are going to look cheap compared to this. Then don't look at my menu, I said, grabbing the papers back. The worst was when she started commenting on my color scheme. I'd chosen silver and cream colors. I'd always loved that combination. It was elegant and classic, and it matched the vibe Mark and I wanted. You picked my favorite colors, Sabrina said accusingly. You know I've always loved silver, you're copying me. I'm not copying you, I said. I've liked these colors forever, this is my style. You need to change it. No, I don't. My mom sighed like I was being difficult. Daisy, would it kill you to compromise a little? I even invited Sabrina and my mom to come dress shopping with me. I thought maybe it would be a nice bonding experience. I tried on this beautiful dress with lace sleeves and a flowing train. I felt amazing in it. That style doesn't suit you, Sabrina said, wrinkling her nose. I love it, I said, looking at myself in the mirror. No, she's right, my mom added. That dress would look much better on Sabrina, she has a more slender and refined figure. You should try something else. I stood there in that dressing room, looking at the two of them, and I realized they weren't there to support me, they were there to tear me down. I bought the dress anyway. And after that day, I stopped telling them anything about my wedding planning. I stopped showing them ideas, stopped asking for opinions, stopped including them in any of it. But they weren't done. At another Sunday dinner, about 3 months before my wedding, Sabrina brought it up again. You know, since I'm the older sister, I should really get married first, she said casually, like she was commenting on the weather. Daisy, you could postpone your wedding a little bit. Just a few months. I put down my fork. I've already booked everything, I've signed contracts with the caterer, the photographer, the DJ, the florist, everyone. If I postpone now, I lose all my deposits. That's thousands of dollars. So? Sabrina said. So, I repeated. So I'm not throwing away thousands of dollars because you suddenly decided you need to get married before me. It's tradition for the older sister to marry first, my mom said. It's not a law, I shot back. And I've had my date set for months, all our guests have been notified, Mark's family is flying in from overseas, his relatives have taken time off work, booked flights, arranged everything, I'm not changing it. It wouldn't kill you to wait a few more months, my dad said. Nothing would really change. I felt something snap inside me. You know what, I'm done listening to all of you tell me I need to move my wedding for Sabrina's convenience. Daisy, don't be dramatic. My mom said. No, I'm going to say this, I continued. This has happened my entire life. Do you remember my birthdays growing up? They all looked at each other. My birthday is 2 weeks before Sabrina's. I said. 2 weeks. But every single year, you combined our birthdays, you celebrated them on her birthday, not mine, hers, and it stopped being about me at all. Everyone forgot it was my birthday too. I got a happy birthday from a few people, maybe, and that was it. All the presents went to Sabrina. Every single gift, because it was really her party, not mine. The table went quiet. So no, I said, I'm not postponing my wedding. I'm doing this on the date I planned, the date I booked, the date I've been working toward for a year. And that's final. I left dinner early that night. When I got home and told Mark and his parents what happened, they were furious on my behalf. Mark's mom hugged me and said I should do what was best for me, not what was convenient for my sister. That I deserved to have my own day without it being overshadowed or changed for someone else. A few days after that dinner, my phone rang. It was my Aunt Linda, my mom's sister. We'd always gotten along okay, nothing special, but she was nice enough. Hey Daisy, she said. I heard you postponed your wedding, what happened? I froze. What? I didn't postpone anything, where did you hear that? Your mom posted about it in the family chat, she said. She said your wedding on October 15th was cancelled, that you moved it to a different date. I'm not in that chat, I said slowly. Oh, well, maybe you should be. Hold on, I'll add you. I hated that family chat. It was just a bunch of relatives gossiping and sending stupid memes and arguing about politics. The notifications drove me crazy when I had it before, so I'd left it months ago. Sabrina loved it though. She was in there all the time, commenting on everything, sharing stuff about her life. A minute later my phone buzzed, I was added to the group. I scrolled up through the messages and felt my blood pressure spike. My mom had written a long message to everyone. She said that the wedding on October 15th would not be happening because I'd postponed it. She said the date was still important though, because Sabrina was having her engagement party that day instead. She invited everyone to come celebrate Sabrina. The responses made me sick. People saying congratulations to Sabrina. Someone writing that they didn't care which event it was, as long as there was free food and drinks. People asking if I was okay, if something had happened with Mark and me. I couldn't hold it in anymore. I typed fast. My wedding has not been cancelled or postponed. Everything is still happening on October 15th as originally planned. Nothing has changed. The chat exploded. People started asking what was going on. Was there a mistake? What did this mean? Why were there two different stories? Some people started asking my mom directly what the truth was. Others asked Sabrina. Nobody gave them a straight answer. My mom just wrote that there was some confusion and they'd sort it out privately. I typed one more message. Everything is very clear to me now. Then I left the chat again. I was shaking. I couldn't believe my own mother had lied to the entire family. She'd told everyone my wedding was cancelled just so they'd come to Sabrina's engagement party instead. I looked at the damage. Most of our relatives had already said they'd go to Sabrina's party. They'd made their choice based on my mom's lies. Fine. If that's how they wanted it, then they weren't invited anymore. I pulled out my guest list. I had about 120 people on it originally. I went through it name by name. Mark's family stayed. Our close friends stayed. But I started crossing off names. Relatives who'd responded to my mom's post with excitement about Sabrina's party, gone. People who hadn't even bothered to ask me directly if the wedding was really cancelled? Gone. When I was done, I'd cut the list by more than half. I kept my Aunt Linda because she'd actually called me to check. I kept my grandmother because she'd always been kind to me. A few cousins I actually liked stayed on the list. Everyone else was out. Mark came home from work and found me surrounded by papers. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Fixing our guest list," I said. I showed him all the changes. He read through it and nodded. "If that's what you want to do, I support you completely. These are the people who actually care about us." The next day, I met with our wedding coordinator, Jennifer. I showed her the new guest list. "Okay," she said, looking it over. "So we're going from 120 guests to about 60. That's a big change, but we can work with it." We adjusted everything. The table arrangements. The amount of food and drinks. The seating chart. It actually saved us some money, which was nice. We decided to put that money toward better wine and a nicer honeymoon. I also called the security company we'd hired to work the event. I gave them the updated guest list. "Anyone not on this list does not get in," I said firmly. "I don't care who they say they are or what reasons they give. If they're not on the list, they stay outside." "Understood," the security guy said. "We'll handle it." After that, I barely talked to my family. I didn't call them, I didn't visit. When my mom tried to call me, I didn't answer. I was done playing their games. The month before the wedding came and went. Nobody from my family reached out to ask if the wedding was still happening. Not my mom, not my dad, not Sabrina. They all just assumed I'd given in and cancelled it for Sabrina's sake. They were about to find out how wrong they were. The morning of the wedding finally arrived. I woke up early, excited and nervous and happy. My bridesmaids came over to the hotel suite where we were getting ready. We drank champagne, did our makeup, laughed, and took photos. I posted some of the photos on social media. Me in my robe, with curlers in my hair, holding a champagne glass. My bridesmaids, helping me into my dress. All of us laughing and having fun. My phone started blowing up immediately. My mom called 5 times in a row. I ignored every call. Then the texts started coming in. "Daisy, what are you doing? We thought you'd meet us halfway and cancel this. You're being selfish. I'm coming to talk sense into you right now. I laughed reading that last one. Good luck, Mom. The ceremony starts in an hour and I'm already at the venue. She'd never make it in time even if she tried. I turned off my phone and focused on getting ready. This was my day. Mine and Mark's, nobody was going to ruin it. Daisy had just cut her family off the guest list and hired security. Her mother was texting threats, her family assumed she'd cave like always. But Daisy had spent a year planning this day. The question is, will she really go through with it? Or will guilt make her let them back in at the last minute? The ceremony was perfect. I walked down the aisle in my beautiful dress, the one my mom said wouldn't suit me. Mark was waiting at the altar with tears in his eyes. We said our vows in front of 60 people who actually cared about us. People who were happy for us, people who'd never tried to sabotage our day. The reception was even better, the food was amazing, the music was great. Everyone was dancing and laughing and having a good time, it was everything I'd dreamed it would be. About halfway through the reception, the head of security came up to me. "Mrs. Harrison," he said. That was my new last name and it still sounded weird but wonderful. "I wanted to let you know some people tried to get in earlier, they said they were your family." "What did you do?" I asked. "Exactly what you told us to do. We checked the list. They weren't on it, we didn't let them in." "Perfect," I said. "Thank you for doing your job." "They weren't happy about it," he continued. "They made quite a scene outside. Yelling, demanding to be let in. We had to threaten to call the police before they finally left." I felt Mark's hand on my shoulder. Wow. He'd come up behind me and heard the whole thing. "You okay?" he asked. "I'm great," I said, and I meant it. My real family is right here in this room. After the reception, Mark and I went straight to the airport. We had a flight to catch. We were going to the Maldives for 2 weeks. White sand beaches, crystal clear water, overwater bungalows. We'd been planning this honeymoon for months and I couldn't wait. Once we got to the resort, I started posting photos every day. Me and Mark on the beach. Sunset dinners. Snorkeling. Couples massages. All of it. I wasn't trying to rub it in anyone's face. I was just happy and I wanted to share that happiness. But my mom found the posts. She started leaving comments on every single photo. "You're so selfish. You let your family down. You've disgraced us. Everyone is asking us why you really got married without inviting your own parents." She also sent me private messages. Long ones. She wrote that I'd humiliated them in front of the entire family. That relatives were calling them asking uncomfortable questions about why they weren't at my wedding. That people were accusing them of lying about the whole thing. She wrote that Sabrina's engagement party was ruined because everyone kept asking where I was and why I'd really gotten married. She said Sabrina had cried during her own party. That her fiancé's parents were upset because the party turned into drama instead of a celebration. I read every message. I didn't respond to a single one. 2 weeks later, Mark and I came back home, tanned, relaxed, and happy. We had about 100 wedding photos to go through and a whole apartment full of gifts to unpack. My mom called the day after we got back. "We need to meet," she said when I answered. "We need to talk about what happened." "There's nothing to talk about," I said. "Daisy, please, just meet me for coffee, 1 hour, that's all I'm asking." "No," I said, "I'm not interested in meeting with you, I'm not interested in talking to you, I'm done." "You can't be serious," she said. "We're your family." "You stopped being my family when you lied to everyone about my wedding," I said. "When you tried to steal my day for Sabrina. When you spent months trying to make me postpone or cancel everything just to make her happy. I'm done with all of it." "You're being ridiculous," she snapped. "This is so immature." "Then I guess I'm immature," I said. "Goodbye, Mom." 2 months went by, life was good. Mark and I were settling into married life. Work was going well. We were happy. Then an invitation showed up in the mail. Sabrina's wedding. It was happening in 3 weeks. The invitation was formal and expensive looking. They'd clearly put money into it. Mark looked at it when he got home from work. "Are you going to go?" "No," I said immediately. "But I'll send a gift." We went online and picked out a nice set of crystal glasses from their registry. Added a card. Spent $1,500 total. It was generous. More generous than they deserved, honestly. But I wanted to be the bigger person. I shipped it off, and that was that. I didn't go to the wedding. I didn't ask how it went. I didn't care. A month after Sabrina's wedding, I found out I was pregnant. Mark and I were thrilled. We'd been talking about starting a family soon, and it happened faster than we expected. I told my Aunt Linda because we still talked sometimes. She'd been at my wedding and she'd always been decent to me. "That's wonderful news, honey," she said. "Congratulations." "Thanks," I said. "We're really excited." A week later, my mom showed up at my office. Just appeared in the lobby and asked the receptionist to call me down. I was in the middle of a meeting when I got the message. I went downstairs and there she was. Sitting in the waiting area like she had every right to be there. "We need to talk," she said, standing up when she saw me. I crossed my arms. "What are you doing here?" "Linda told me you're pregnant," she said. "We need to discuss this. I want to be part of my grandchild's life. I want to be a real grandmother." Actually, I did laugh, right there in my office lobby. "Why didn't you tell me I couldn't get pregnant before Sabrina?" I asked. "Since apparently she has to do everything first." My mom's face went red. "That's not funny, Daisy. Don't make jokes like that." "I'm not joking," I said. "You spent months trying to make me postpone my wedding so Sabrina could get married first. Why should having a baby be any different?" "Stop trying to make us sound like monsters," she said. Her voice was getting louder and people in the lobby were starting to stare. "We're your parents, we love you." "You have a funny way of showing it," I said. "Look, I don't want to do this here, this is my workplace." "Then when?" she demanded. "You won't return my calls, you won't meet with me, what am I supposed to do?" "I don't know, Mom, figure it out yourself." I turned to walk back to the elevator. "Daisy, wait," she called after me, "please, just think about what I said. About the baby, about letting me be a grandmother." I stopped and looked back at her. "Here's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about how you treated me my entire childhood, how every birthday became about Sabrina. How nothing I did was ever good enough. How you tried to ruin my wedding. And I'm thinking about whether I want my child to grow up feeling the same way I did." "It won't be like that," she said quickly. "Won't it?" I asked. "When Sabrina has kids, are you going to compare them? Are you going to favor her children over mine just like you favored her over me?" She didn't answer, she just stood there looking uncomfortable. "That's what I thought," I said. "Look, I'll think about it. But right now, I don't need stress. I don't need drama. I don't need you showing up at my job making scenes. I'm pregnant, and I need to focus on staying healthy and calm. We can talk about this after the baby is born, maybe." "Maybe," she repeated. "Maybe," I said firmly. "That's the best I can offer right now. Take it or leave it." She opened her mouth like she wanted to argue, but then closed it again. "Fine. After the baby is born. But Daisy, please think about what you're doing, we're family." "I have a family," I said. "I have Mark, I have his parents who have been nothing but supportive and kind to me. I have a baby on the way, that's my family now." I went back upstairs to my office. My hands were shaking a little but I felt good. Strong. Like I'd finally stood up for myself in a way that mattered. That was 3 months ago. I'm 6 months pregnant now. My mom hasn't shown up at my office again. She sends texts sometimes. Asking how I'm feeling. Asking if I need anything. I respond occasionally with short answers. "I'm fine." "No, I'm good." Sabrina hasn't reached out at all. I heard from Aunt Linda that her wedding went okay but not great. Apparently, a lot of people were still talking about my wedding drama and it overshadowed her day a bit. Part of me feels bad about that. But mostly I don't. Mark's parents threw us a baby shower last month. It was beautiful, all our real friends were there, people who love us and support us. People who are genuinely excited about this baby. I posted photos from the shower online. My mom commented, "Beautiful," with a heart emoji. I didn't respond. I don't know what's going to happen after the baby is born. Maybe I'll let my parents meet their grandchild eventually. Maybe I won't. I haven't decided yet. What I do know is that I'm not going to let them treat my child the way they treated me. I'm not going to let them play favorites. I'm not going to let them make my kid feel less than. Mark and I are building our own family now. One based on love and respect and actually treating people well. One where birthdays are celebrated on the actual day they happen. One where nobody has to compete for attention or approval. I'm happy, really, genuinely happy. I have a husband who adores me. A baby on the way, a nice home, a good job, friends who care about me. Mark's family has basically adopted me as their own. Do I miss my parents sometimes? Maybe a little. Do I miss Sabrina? Not really, but I don't miss feeling like I'm never good enough. I don't miss being second place in my own family. I don't miss the constant criticism and the games and the manipulation, so yeah. I'm good. Better than good. I'm finally living my life on my own terms, and it feels amazing. This story shows us toxic family dynamics and conditional love. Daisy learned that setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's survival. If this resonated, subscribe, share with someone who needs to hear it, and tell us your story below. Your support keeps this channel going. Thanks for watching.